The main event, what you've probably been wanting to hear. That's our choice for most valuable player of the year. Two guys have skyrocketed their way to the top two. Nobody else is in their stratosphere right now. You can't put Giannis. He's playing good, but you can't put him. LeBron doing great for a 4-year-old, but he's not touching what these guys are doing. Those two guys, of course, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Nikola Jokic, two guys that are getting it done and getting it done big time. So, since I started first last time, I'm going to put the pressure on Big Nines. If you look at the numbers, we just got two samples of them going head to head. We saw them play Sunday. We saw them play, I believe it was Monday night. Shai won the game Sunday. I think Jokic banged up his elbow a little bit. He was a little off. Came back. They put up 140 points against the best defense, one of the best defenses in the NBA. So, who do you got as the most valuable player this season in the NBA?
Well, I'm going to preface my comments by saying, again, this is a media-driven award. And, again, we just need to keep that in mind. And we also have this big conversation not too long ago between SGA and Jokic. Now, getting to the Thunder, because, again, the MVP, yes, individual award, but this is, again, a team award. It is not given to the best player. It is given to the best player on the best team. Now, that being said, you have to have numbers as well, because obviously you can't just say, oh, by that logic, Donovan Mitchell will get it. It's not where I'm going with this. Okay. Hang with me for a second. So the Thunder are 53-12, right? SGA, we know his numbers. 32.7 points per game, leads the NBA, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, shooting 52% from the field, 37% from three. Second NBA with steals, 1.8. He's averaging 1.1 blocks per game. Got to make note of that. This is a shooting guard doing this, or point guard really, but point guard, shooting guard, 1.1 blocks per game. All right, cool. He is top 2 in defensive rating. He is the second in terms of defensive rating numbers. The only person better than him is his teammate, Jalen Williams. So the Thunder on his 66 pace. 66 win game pace this year. He has dropped 50 points on 4 separate occasions this season, right? He has shown his improvements. We understand what he is for OKC. Now, in the 4 games against Denver, he's put 30 on them respectfully. He pretty much got his averages against them, right? Mm-hmm. I understand his stats. Obviously, you'll probably get into Jokic's stats, but he's basically averaging a triple-double. 57% from the field, 43% from the three, tied with SGA for steals. I'm not going to talk about the blocks for Yoke because that's not really what he does, but he's got less blocks than a point guard, shooting guard. We ain't going to talk about that. And he's also playing more minutes than my guy. Just throwing that out there. But when we're talking about the MVP and why I have SGA over Jokic, because obviously I do. I had him one a year ago, but nonetheless, they were 57-25 last year. The Denver Nuggets are not on that same pace this year. They are 42-23. So, unless they just win 15 straight and lose 2, they're not going to get back to what they were last season. Mind you, the Thunder, 53-12. They have shown improvement. SGA has elevated his level of play, and they have gotten better. Again, best player on the best team with whatever stats you want to go and throw in. All right. So before I give you the floor, because both candidates are great, but again, when you look at the average margin of victory, the Thunder have the best in the NBA at 12.58. Right. Mm-hmm. Then we go to defensive rating. They are the best defensive team in basketball. The Denver Nuggets are subpar. They are 22nd in the league in defense. They are not a good defensive team, right? So when you look at how they were last year, so let's just look at them how they were last season. When Jokic bumped him out for MVP, Denver was 8th in offense, 8th in defense, fifth in offense. OKC was fourth in defense, third in offense. All right.
Okay.
So now we're talking about this season now. OKC now, fourth in offense. Slightly worse. Injuries, attrition, we get that. They are the number one defensive team where I see improvement led by their best player. Denver is now second in offense, an improvement from last season, but they took a nosedive defensively
They did. I mean, losing
because
KCP was big.
Jokic is getting hunted in a lot of these games. There's no way to point it. You do not have the personnel to protect him no more. He gets hunted. My guy SGA plays both sides of the ball. Jokic does not. When we talk about the best player, when we talk about the MVP, you got to put respect on SGA because he is going out there and he's doing it on both sides of the ball. SGA is the MVP. He's on the best team in the West. He's playing the best on that team. There's nothing else to be said. Jokic is phenomenal, but this year it's going to SGA for all the reasons I just mentioned and the fact that this is a media-driven award. They're not going to do this man SGA like this 2 times in a row. It's not going to happen.
I heard you, and you made some compelling points. But what Jokic is doing this season is legendary. Very few players have ever done some of the things he's doing. He is hearkening back to Wilt Chamberlain, which Wilt Chamberlain is a mythical figure that did things that just no man should have been able to do during that time. So I get what you're saying. I just did a video on this. So let's look at their numbers, and then I will come with my pick. So you went over plenty of numbers, but Jokic is a better rebounder. Obviously, he's a center. He's leading SGA in assists, field goal percentage, 3-point percentage. SGA has the free throw percentage over Jokic, and SGA has points per game over Jokic. Every other stat, and they're tied in steals, and he's over him in blocks. Okay, but every other thing, Jokic is head and shoulders above him. So in points per game, SGA is first in the league. Jokic is third. Rebounds, SGA 76. He's not a rebounder. Jokic third. Assists per game, SGA 16th. He's a point guard, combo guard, shooting guard. 16th in the league. Joker second. Field goal percentage, SGA is 25th in the league. Jokic 11th. 3-point percentage, SGA 79th. Joker 8th. Free throw percentage, SGA is 8th, and Joker is 61st. So of those categories, other than free throw percentage, the Joker is almost 10th or better in every one of them. Mm-hmm. That's something crazy. But let's go to advanced metrics. I don't know how much you value advanced metrics, but Joker has the highest PER in the league, highest box plus minus. SGA leads him in win shares. Joker has the highest VORP, value over replacement player. Offensive rating, Joker beats SGA, and defensive rating, this is where there's a huge divide between them. SGA is leagues ahead of him. He's second in all the NBA right now, and Joker 15th. That's admirable for a guy that isn't known for defense. He's the first player to put up 30, 20, ever. The things he does, and most of us beginning of the season felt that Denver was going to have a drop. We saw what happened in the playoffs last year. Minnesota, got him out of there. They lose KCP. They bring in Russell Westbrook. He's a wild card kind of player right now. They lose their rookie, their draft, who was supposedly going to help out Jokic. So that was a young player they lost. They're still second in the NBA. They finished third last year. Right now, they're sitting at second. So there hasn't been a drop-off from where they're at, maybe in their record, but there hasn't been a drop-off. And Jokic has just been he's just been all you can say is he's been phenomenal. I mean, he has a team that has no other all-star. Like nobody even in the I don't know how Jamal Murray did in the fan vote, but I don't think he did very well. So no other all-star, second place in the Western Conference. How do you deny this guy? But unfortunately, you have to this year. Unfortunately, with these numbers,
Whoa.
with his just insane advanced metrics, this year you got to give it to SGA. Jokic is my guy.
Whoa.
Jokic
I
is
was
my
not
guy.
expecting that. Oh my goodness.
Jokic is my guy. And the one thing you said, which I think will play a huge part in this, is winning. I think even though you look down the line, the OKC Thunder has a much better team than the Denver Nuggets. That's kind of obvious. And I know people will say, well, if you took Jokic and put it on Thunder, you put SGA, put him on the Nuggets, Nuggets drop off, Thunder will probably still be as good as they are. And I agree with that. But what Shai is doing is somewhat reminiscent to a guy that I think is the GOAT, Michael Jeffrey Jordan. He's putting up those type of numbers, and those type of numbers you can't deny. Even with the numbers that Jokic is putting up, they look great. They are great. But I mean, SGA is doing this and winning. So if Jokic could get that team to at least 50 wins, I'd say he has a case. Well, no, how many they got? What, 43?
42
right now?
and 23.
42. Okay. Well, not 50 wins. I'm saying maybe closer to 55, 60. If somehow he was able to do that, which is probably impossible, maybe you could slide him in. But I mean, you can't really deny SGA. He's come out and been just as good this year as he was last year. So I mean, that accounts for something. You got to count that. And his team was just far and away better than the rest of the pack in the West. So that accounts for something else. I mean, this is like Jordan 96. They separated themselves from the pack, and they were the best team in the league. Unfortunately, OKC has a great Cleveland Cavalier team to kind of offset what they're doing. But if Cleveland hadn't been playing that well, I mean, there was no denying SGA. So I have to give it for winning. But I would not be surprised if, for the first time ever, we have a co-MVP. If Jokic finishes strong, keeps up these averages, if he finishes with a triple-double as a center, and SGA, keeps his numbers the same, I can see them voters, 1 and 2, and maybe some flip it, and there'll be a tie. But I just don't see any way, unfortunately, to give it to Jokic. And like I said, I'm a Jokic guy. But you can't deny SGA this year.
I'm so surprised that you said this, because I was thinking we was gonna have to go back and forth on this for a while, but hey, I ain't gonna fight it. I'm glad you finally starting to see the light over here.
Like I said, the only thing that separates them is also on the defensive end. The fact that he's putting out those numbers and playing defense at a high level, you can't really, there's no way you can't say he is the best player in the league right now and the most valuable player, because he's the head of the snake. He's the one that's leading that team, and that team is just chilling team. So, I mean, if Jokic he could have just had the winning that he had last year, I think he gets another one. But I think a lot of people who wanted SGA to win last year are not going to let him lose this year, not after the season they've had. So, I mean, I think it's a given now, unfortunately, that even after what Jokic did Monday night, I still don't think he has enough to do it, which is crazy because he's putting up numbers we've never seen. So that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous that he will not win an MVP doing that. But such is the way of the NBA.